1977, 1978, 1980. 3 times in 4 years, the World Rally Championship is won by Fiat. It makes it once again with the 131 Abarth, a production-derived saloon. A rugged, maneuverable and versatile car that is the expression of Fiat's technology. Driving a 131, Röhrl wins the Drivers' World Championship. The success is complete after a long race with the official teams entered by European and Japanese manufacturers. A success of Italian make. A 6-day race, 5,000 kilometers, dozens of hours spent driving under strenuous conditions pushed to the extreme throughout. The Monte Carlo Rally, first race of the Drivers' and Manufacturers' World Championship, doesn't want to belie its tradition and prestige. Departures are from 9 different European towns in the direction of Serre-Chevalier in France. The program is inclusive of a track race amid ice and snow, together with 31 special trials. They are all there. That is, all those that count. Datsun, Ford, Opel, Talbot, Toyota, and then Mercedes, Porsche, and Volkswagen. They're out to break the bank at the Rally Casino. Fiat's colors are upheld by the 131s driven by Allen and Röhrl in turn, backed up by the French ones manned by Androuet and Mouton, as well as by Valdegaard's Swedish 131. Then comes Bettiger's dashing Ritmo 75, together with the indomitable Lancia Stratos, driven by Darniche. From the spectacular stunts performed on track at Serre-Chevalier to the dangers of the road. Allen takes the lead right from the start until he is passed by Röhrl, while Bettiger's Ritmo is engaged in an astonishing performance. The 131 of the German driver dominates in the common route of the Monte Carlo Rally. The weather couldn't be worse. Fog, rain, heavy snowfalls. Darniche bears the brunt, playing snowplow with, in his wake, the procession of the other contestants. The Frenchman is literally unleashed on the last section of the rally, and so too Valdegaard. The two soon overtake Coulang's Ascona and Eklund's Golf, while Röhrl, in his 131, is certainly not lagging behind. Fiat scores a victory again in the Principality after 52 years, with Röhrl's 131 after Bignan's 509. In second place, there is the Stratos. Valdegaard's 131 is third, and the Ritmo ends up sixth. A complete success for the Turin-based group, with, in the first places, 3 cars greatly differing both in terms of structural layout and end users. In particular, the 131 is the first classical production car, that is, with front-mounted engine and rear-wheel drive, to have achieved a similar result in the Monte Carlo Rally since 1960. 1980 starts off very well indeed. romantic scenes with seagulls, children and swans shouldn't be misleading. The Rally of Sweden is among the toughest and most typical of northerly climates. This is the 30th that is being run. It doesn't count for the Manufacturers' World Championship. As a result, Fiat decides not to participate officially. Among the entrants, however, there is a 131 driven by Swedish champion Björn Waldegard, who is later to race for Mercedes. Waldegard, who has already won 5 times on his home roads, has now to face the other ice and snow specialists. Just to name a few, there are Eklund and Salonen on Datsun 160J, Mikola on Ford Escort, Kulang on Ascona 400, Blomqvist on Saab Turbo, and Eirikala on Vauxhall Chevette. Entertainment also wants its share in Sweden. The first stage includes 5 trials, but only the last is an actual special in the true sense of the word. The others being run on either snow-covered cross-country or horse race tracks. It's a festival of driving stunts. Mikola takes the lead, but the Finn strays out and loses 3 minutes. Now it's the turn of Blomqvist to lead with Kulang in his wake. Waldegard follows in 5th place. In the second stage, Blomqvist has a flat tire, and Kulang replaces him in leading position, while Waldegard advances to 2nd place. The mechanics replace the differential of his 131 in a matter of just 14 minutes. Final stage, Kulang ends up 1st. The unleashed Blomqvist steals a place on Waldegard, who has been allowed too little time to familiarize with the car. Björn is nonetheless satisfied. The 131 is a good car, he says to his interviewer.
Yes, very much. I mean, the 3rd place in this competition is very, very good.
Yes. And what do you think of the car? It was a really good car for...
Yes, fantastic. You know, I was very happy with the handling. But I maybe worked a lot on my cell phone.
In the second contest of the Manufacturers' World Championship, that is the Rally of Portugal, Fiat enters its regular team. Röhl, Allen, Bettiger, 3 highly skilled and mutually understanding professionals facing on their 131s the cream of rally drivers. Datsun, Ford, Mercedes, Opel, Talbot and Triumph are among the entrants. There is also the Lancia Stratos of the omnipresent Danish. It's enough to say that 25 #1 drivers are among the participants. The race starts in bad weather with fog, rain, slippery asphalt and dirt roads turned into mud. A great number of spectators is strung all along the route, jeopardizing their lives just to have a close look at the cars hurtling by. The fight is thrilling. Danish makes an attempt to attack, but after having tried 10 times, it is Allen who manages to take the lead. He doesn't stay there long, because the Finn loses precious minutes because of minor drawbacks. Even unluckier is Danish. A radiator hose breaks, which causes the engine to overheat. Many are compelled to withdraw their cars. Kulang, we now see him toiling at his Ascona, ends off the road. The same happens to Bettiger, Kleint on another Ascona, and Salonen on Datsun. Röhl, the most regular driver, has the best of it. The German keeps his leading position throughout the second stage, while in the third, champions such as Mikola and Vatanen are forced to give up the race. They both stray out of a bend in almost the same place. Röhl is first through to the end, while Allen ends up second. Fiat reckons second World Rally Championship, second win. 2 131s in the first 2 places, and Röhl leading in the Drivers' Championship. Not bad. Absent in the Safari, won by the Datsun of the Indian Shekhar Mehta, Fiat is again present in Greece to participate in the Manufacturers' World Championship. That is, in the rally event named after the Acropolis. The drivers, too, would rather like to go sightseeing, but there's no time for that. The Acropolis Rally is no joke. 3,000 kilometers, more than 50 special trials, and roads so bad that this contest is known as the Safari of Europe. Dust, a lot of it, everywhere. Overtakings are difficult, if not impossible, to accomplish. Ari Vatanen on escort is the winner, but Allen ends up third with Röhrl and Bettega in 5th and 8th places respectively. The Italian team is the only one to have all the cars entered in the contest arrive in Athens. A further proof of how reliable a car the 131 is in adapting to a road surface situation, as well as in its ability to meet the challenge of any competitor. In the Acropolis too, there's a large number of entrants. Apart from Ford, with Mikola and Cohen alongside Vatanen, there are Datsun, Opel, Peugeot, Toyota and Mercedes. The German manufacturer is present with 4 cars. The race begins with a dashing start of Vatanen and Mikola, while Allen, Kulang and Bettega are lagging behind. Röhrl is forced to stop to look for assistance, as he's got some troubles with his gearbox. It's a breathtaking contest, day and night behind the wheel. Fiat's drivers are assisted by the team's doctor. Nourishment, physical conditions and weariness are all kept under control.
Of your third place in
Yeah, okay. Ari and all is fantastic. And okay, I try in yesterday evening in very hard I pushing and I go in flat out in some dust, but it's no way. You know, in Ari and Timo is good. It's good feeling in driving. It's not possible I overtake. No way.
The second stage starts with the withdrawals of Danish and Mikola. Allen stops, believing that the gearbox isn't performing well, and asks for the assistance of his mechanics. All they find is a dust protection which has gone loose, but it costs the Finnish driver more than 7 minutes at the hour check. 7 minutes, in fact, which might have meant winning the contest. Too bad. The last 2 stages bring the withdrawal of the Mercedes participants. Röhrl strays out but manages to go on racing. Bettega is involved in a ruinous landing on a road bump but keeps on racing all the same. Few survivors are counted at the Acropolis. It's already a success for Fiat to have all its 3 131 Abarths driven through to the finishing line. In the Manufacturers and Drivers' World Championship, the Turin-based manufacturer and Röhrl are still in leading position. For the first time ever, a world rally is run in Latin America. It's known as the Codasur. Its birth is due to both the commitment and the efforts of the automobile clubs of 10 South American countries. Argentina is where the rally is run this year. That is, in a country rich in folklore and sports tradition. Only 4 teams are entered this time: Datsun, Fiat, Mercedes and Peugeot. Fiat is present with 4 131s manned by the usual crews, that is, Allen, Kivimaki, Bettega, Bernacchini and Röhrl Geisdorfer, plus the debut of Reutemann and his co-driver Perissuti. Carlos Reutemann quits for a moment the steering wheel of his Formula One Williams and the Grand Prix circus. He will not regret his decision. The Codasur also includes approaching routes like the Monte Carlo Rally, departures from Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Paraguay, Uruguay and of course Argentina, as well as 4 stages centered on San Miguel of Tucumán, a picturesque town at the foot of the Andes. a patch or two of asphalt and a lot of dirt roads with fords, mountain passes, pebble slopes, narrow bridges, endless stretches and routes winding their way as high as 3,600 meters. And dust and mud throughout the race. Right from the start, the 131 show they stand an excellent chance of winning the contest. The opening stage ends with Röhrl in leading position ahead of Allen and Bettiger-Reutemann. The second stage is more decisive. Kallstrom, Datsun, Maldegaard and Recalde, Mercedes, Mäkinen, Peugeot, are all forced to quit the race. Röhrl still manages to end up first, while Allen and Reutemann arrive third and fifth, respectively. The two latter drivers have lost time due to problems caused by impurities in their fuel supplies. There's one day off, a good chance for a little relaxation. A few hours more and then back to the racing world. One driver seems to be enjoying himself. It's Carlos Reutemann. He works marvels on his 131, number 7, showing himself to be so much of a skilled rally driver that his co-driver, Perisuti, is astounded. Reutemann is a marvelous professional and an idol to his Argentinian fans. Third stage. Sad notes for Fiat when Allen and Bettiger, in trying to recover lost time, rush at full speed on a bumpy section of a special trial, which forces them to surrender this time. Röhrl is still first, however, and will keep his leading position through to the end. A triumph. Then the customary interview.
What was the most difficult part of the rally?
Oh, I think this was the first day, the first long day, not the asphalt stages, but the first gravel day. It was the most difficult for the driver.
Maybe you are world champion with Fiat this year.
Oh, it's a long way.
From one side of the world to the other. While the success achieved by Marco Allen in the 1000 Lakes Rally within the Drivers' Championship is entered on Fiat's records, the time has already come to prepare for the Rally of New Zealand. That is for the 6th contest within the Manufacturers' World Championship. New Zealand and Italy are poles apart. A long and expensive transfer is involved. In Turin, the expedition is reduced to the essentials. Just one 131 Abarth, manned by Röhrl and his inseparable co-driver, Geistorfer. Scoring a few points is the objective. And once again, the objective is achieved. The race is won by Timo Salonen and his Datsun, but Röhrl ends up in second place. A result, in fact, which brings the world title nearer. Ugly weather with rainstorms and floods over dirt roads. Ford, Vauxhall and Mercedes are also there, the latter with as many as 3 500 SLC coupes, manned by Cohen, Mikola and Valdegaard. But the fight is restricted to a duel between Salonen and Röhrl. The Finn takes the lead until he is later passed by the German, while Cohen and Mikola are soon faced with difficulties. The first stage ends with Salonen in first place. In the following stages, through to the end, Röhrl has some tire problems because of their being too hard for this kind of road situation. He is satisfied with his second place. His rendezvous with victory is merely postponed. Anxiety and improvisation characterize the participation of the Turin team in the Sanremo. The 131s, specifically prepared for the contest, cannot leave the Abarth plants owing to workers' strikes. Fiat is thus forced to participate through the presence of 3 different teams: Jolly Club for Röhrl, Quattro Rombi for Allen, and River Team for Bettega. The situation is critical. Alfa Romeo, Datsun, Ford, Opel and Talbot are all ready to fight. And though Berini's Alfetta Turbo Delta is immediately eliminated by a fire, Bettega is penalized after a few kilometers, owing to a breakdown that is literally inexplicable under normal operating conditions. And that is the detachment of the differential. Allen takes the lead, dueling with Vatanen and his escort, but is betrayed by the engine, the first time ever that it happens. Is Fiat's race over? No, it isn't. While other race protagonists gradually withdraw one after the other, in the third stage on the slippery dirt roads around San Marino, Röhrl is engaged in an irresistible recovery. His white-painted 131, aided by excellent Pirelli tires, first catches up with and then overtakes Vatanen. Towards the end of the last but 3 trial, there was a bend you could drive through at full speed in fourth. Coming out of this very long bend, the car strayed some and struck the rear end against a slope. After the tail hit, the nose also shot up the slope, which caused the car to turn over and skid against the road surface. It looked like it would never stop. With Röhrl in leading position, smiling faces are seen again in the Fiat team, even if nerves are still on edge. One more night driving on the mountain roads around Sanremo, and then the race is over. It's almost like a lap, but everything works out right. Röhrl makes no mistake. His 131 speeds by precisely and safely. And back in the Ligurian city, the advantage Röhrl has over the escort is increased. This is a great victory for Fiat. This rally win was among the most demanding, with several difficulties both internal and external. And this explains why this is perhaps the best victory of the entire season. It makes 4. Tour de Corse, the 10,000 bend rally. This year, departures from Ajaccio. 2 stages, 2,000 kilometers and dozens of special trials with timed stretches of up to 200 kilometers. A breathtaking contest in the enchantment of a still wild and unspoiled island. An enchantment few can resist. Enters the 131s of Bettiger, Röhrl and Darniche, the latter replacing Allen, who is engaged in the next tour of Italy. Datsun too is present with Salonen and Dawson. The Japanese manufacturer tries his last card in the World Challenge against Fiat. But Fiat can also count on the French 131s, that is, those driven by Androuet and Mouton. Many Porsches are entered. Outstanding among them, Terrier's 911. A great number of Renault 5 turbos also make their debut in a contest within the World Championship. And Fréquelin's Talbot Lotus seems to promise a challenge. In short, a top-class entry for a race which may mean for Fiat and Walter Röhrl winning the manufacturers and drivers World Championship. Ragnotti takes the lead, but has a flat, and Androuet takes advantage of this with his 131. He comes to a halt when his timing belt breaks loose. Ragnotti inexorably recaptures the lead, while the fight between Darniche and Terrier goes on unremittingly behind him. Röhrl is in 5th place. The German is world champion. For Salonen, his last rival in a position to win the title, is already back in his hotel. Second stage, rainstorms and a wind blowing at 100 kilometers an hour. Ragnotti gives up the race. Darniche and Fréquelin collide and stray out of the road. Bettiger skids on mud and comes to a halt with his car balanced over a ditch. Goodbye to the race. The mechanics work miracles. Mouton misses a likely second place owing to a breakdown in her electrical equipment brought about by rainwater. Those that literally surface at the end are Terrier and his powerful Porsche, and Röhrl behind the wheel of his unsinkable 131. Terrier is the winner, and with him smile the men of the Fiat team. Cesare Fiorio explains the reasons behind a success which reaffirms Fiat's vitality, as well as that of the Italian car industry as a whole. 3 world championships in just one season, I believe, is a record few may boast. Particularly in our case, with 10 years of absolute supremacy behind us and 11 world titles won in 9 years. I believe it is a record very few manufacturers can claim. Obviously, this is the result of advanced technology on the one hand, and on the other of the professional character of our whole team, which once again has shown itself to be on a par with the best racing teams from all over the world. The 131 has triumphed over all its competitors, winning on snow, dirt roads and asphalt surfaces, while Röhrl, 33 and married, has become a sort of Alan Jones of rally drivers, thanks to this saloon of Italian make. 1980 starts off well, but ends even better.
And on beginning, I was here for my points for Drivers' Championship, and after Salonen retired, I only was thinking to World Championship of Fiat, and everything was quite perfect.